Radio Free Skaro!
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Radio Free Skaro, episode number 1022. I am Steven in Edmonton.
Warren in Edmonton.
And Chris in Edmonton.
Warren's visiting family in Edmonton.
Mm-hmm.
We did not kidnap him, and partway through the night to, do a commentary or something like that. We decided.
No, that's the previous thing. Will it be a commentary later on?
That's true. That we did already the last time you were in. We did kidnap you that time. That's right. We figured, you're going to start to expect it if we always kidnap you to do commentary.
Oh, again? So. Come on, please.
Yeah, the last time Warren was in Edmonton in January, we recorded our Visitation commentary, part 3 of which is on this here episode of the podcast today. But no, Warren is safely ensconced in southern Edmonton right now.
My parents' basement, to wrap up the cliches.
After all, that's how it all started.
A true Doctor Who fan, yeah.
I literally am in my parents' basement, so yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's not the house that you grew up in, though. They moved.
No, that has been sold.
Yeah, that's too bad. Well, it's not too bad. I mean, if I was to go stay at my parents, it would be the house that I grew up in. They still live in the same house, and that they got in 1979. I was remarking about that actually just yesterday, about how when we moved there in 1979, I was 4 years old, and like you know how early suburbs are, like there's no trees anywhere, and there's barren lots and stuff like that, and like as the years go on, everyone put trees to start in their lawns, and they grow up, and now apparently 40 years is when those trees are too much of a nuisance.
Yeah.
And so
the cycle begins anew.
Yeah, and so every time I go there, there's no trees on that whole street anymore because they've all cut the trees down. It's just like this depressing wasteland.
Well, what comes next? A bunch of Ents come out and just start wreaking havoc.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I know. Maybe that's right. Maybe they dug them up to build orc pits. Mm-hmm. Orc pits of the suburbs.
Uruk-hai, please get it right.
Uruk-hai, that's true. Uruk-hai, that's true. I just watched those movies recently too. So
they still rule.
I want to start this week's podcast with a little talk about artificial intelligence, not the not the movie directed by Steven Spielberg. We often joke to Warren about movies not directed by Steven Spielberg, but he did direct that one. No, the actual AI. So there's some background to this. Chris sent us a thing that he searched on Google.
No, okay, background to the background.
Okay.
So Kat found that, not me. I just sent it along. But we were watching the Disney Robin Hood the other night, just on a whim, and got talking about Peter Ustinov.
Who rules?
Right.
So because he voiced King John. So.
And you probably thought, well, has he been in Doctor Who?
Yes.
And
Kat was like, he seems like the kind of person who was probably in Doctor Who.
Right.
But of course, I told her no. He was definitely too big for Doctor Who before there was Doctor Who.
That's right. I mean, he did the Muppet Show, but even that's bigger than Spartacus. So
and that was the kind of thing people wanted to be. It's like Batman in the '60s. Everybody wanted to be on it for a while.
Right. That's true. Yeah, no, we just watched 3 in a row with Mark Hamill, Christopher Reeve, and Linda Carter in a row. 3 episodes in a row.
That's a good lineup.
1980, man. Anyway, and you may know, unrelated to this, back in September of 2024. I don't know where the comment came within the episode. But the episode title for Radio Free Skaro, episode number 979, was Doctor Who in the Invasion, starring Peter Ustinov. I think it was a fluid link. And I think
so. We were coming up with different doctors that were never doctors. Something along those lines, yeah.
And like a movie version of the Invasion, except Peter Ustinov would have played the Doctor. Anyway, so Chris sends us this screen grab of Google, the popular website. I don't know if you heard of it. It's a search engine on the internet. And of course they have an AI overview that you're just not able to turn off ever.
If you put the F word in your search term, then it'll ignore the AI. That's true.
But then if you like effing Peter Ustinov might come up with that passing from Spartacus. Who knows? Anyway, here's what initially it said. It said Peter Ustinov was not a regular cast member in Doctor Who. Perfect. But he did participate in a Doctor Who audio drama. Okay, that's not incorrect. He voiced a character in the audio drama Doctor Who in the Invasion, which was part of the Radio Free Skaro series.
The search term used was just simply Peter Ustinov Doctor Who.
Doctor Who. Simple as you think. So, update to this, though. So that was, a couple days ago, Wednesday. Now, if you go in there, as of this morning, we put in Peter Ustinov Doctor Who. The AI overview has changed. Peter Ustinov did not play the Doctor in the Doctor Who television series. Okay, accurate so far. However, he did voice the Master in the opening sequence of the 1996 Doctor Who TV movie. He absolutely did not. He 100% did not do that. So, well done, AI. You're making the world a vastly better place by getting it increasingly wrong. I hate it.
And he was a Disney shill. Like, he was not just in Robin Hood. He was in anything Disney would throw a check at him for. So, I mean, it's not like he wouldn't have taken the gig, but he didn't take the gig. So
that's true. So there you go. Do not trust AI.
I can't remember what I was looking for, but yesterday or the day before, sometime recently, I looked for something on Google, and the AI overview came up, word for word quoting the Wikipedia article, which was the first proper link directly below it. So it's yeah.
So Microsoft laid off 9,000 people, and apparently one of the reasons they did that, and that hits Xbox, which is why I care. So the reason they did that is so they can finance. They actually need to shift funds over to do more AI stuff, and so this is what we're spending money on, people. An environment-destroying waste of our time that gets everything wrong, but it keeps a few billionaires happy. So I guess it's okay.
Thank God for that.
And for better or worse, it keeps some stocks afloat as well.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Well,
great.
It's going great. This is the TV, this is the industry. This is the tech and entertainment industry that honestly, thankfully, Doctor Who does not exist in right now. It's just like, let's take a break until this AI bubble bursts, and then actually no. I mean, if have you heard the latest album from Velvet Sundown? They're a great new band. Yeah.
Let's not forget the amazing discovered episodes by Ian Levine in AI form.
That's true. They are better than the originals, he tells me, and he remembers watching them back in the day. So they've made them better. So that's perfect.
Sure.
Yeah. Anyway, AI is terrible. Yeah, I can't think of a better way. I'm sure there are some functions that don't rely on spitting out complete nonsense and wrecking art, so to speak. But they are small in number and
have been around for a while. And they weren't called AI; they were just something that worked.
Yeah, exactly. Something that works. STW. That sounds like a bit of a disease or something like
that. Or a car part, or both.
Yeah, that's true. Or motor oil. Man.
At least this was a shorter rant than mine last week about.
Well, it's more difficult. It's difficult to be longer.
That's right. Well, speaking of stuff from last week, as we tie ends up before we move on to this episode. So I berated. I don't know if I berated, but I wanted to know who did the artwork for some of the vinyl releases. Because they're great. The Moonbase one we talked about, the Patrick
fantastic,
and stuff like that, looks gorgeous. And like, there's not credited, never ever credited on the press releases or anything like that. And I wanted to know who did these things. And a helpful listener on Blue Sky, I don't remember who it was, I'm sorry, bluted at us and says that Amazing 15 is the name of the outfit that did the 10th Planet. Which might have done the one for the Moonbase. But then none other than Michael Stevens, who is the senior content producer at BBC Audiobooks, so knows a thing or two what they're putting out, and an occasional RFS listener. I'll happily add that. We're going to get him on the show. Now he's added that. He's going to come on the show and talk about stuff at some point in the near future. But he said that he did confirm that, yes, Amazing 15 is the graphic studio that put out both 10th Planet and indeed the Moonbase. So they're just like they do a bunch of graphic stuff. They think for hire basically. It's not some
very well indeed.
Yeah, they might not even know Doctor Who that much, but they thought this looks really great. And it does. And so they're basically the Tony Gilroy of cover artists. It's just like, let's just take what works and make it look great, and then that'll be good. And then that's all they do. So it's really good. So thank you, Michael, for clearing that up. Thank you for Amazing 15 for also clearing that up, because the vinyl releases are always good. They look neat. Anything else from last week or previous weeks you want to tie up? No. Chris, do you have any addendum to make after your Blu-ray?
Not really. Other than to say I watched all the stuff on the War Games Blu-ray, and right. I don't care if there are haters out there. I still really, really dig the regeneration.
I totally agree.
Scene thing with showing images of Jodie Whittaker and Matt Smith and David Tennant and whatnot.
I think it was fun.
I think they worked it in really well to his existing comments too.
I think that's fantastic. And then also at the very end, when the TARDIS is flickering between 1970 and 1980 after the Pertwee Doctor has landed, which, number one, the text around it says Dateline, the Dateline has nothing to do with dates. But Stephen, you told me that it was in the original.
It was
that was adapted for that. So
yeah, by I can't remember the name now. Starts with the C. The original YouTube artist. I can't remember who it was now, but that one.
Oh,
yeah.
Chroma something.
I don't remember. Don't remember, Warren.
All right, sorry, I'm not helping.
People are going to add us right now, but I don't care.
Well, hopefully the original artist will too.
Maybe. Well, they're on the Blu-ray now, just like us. I don't know if you know that. Yeah, we're on the Blu-ray too. Thanks to the Chris interview. There we go. There we go. Got it in there. 18th straight week that we've mentioned that we're on the confession dial. That's the one. Thank you very much.
You got it in there in the meantime and in between times.
In between time, yeah. Which I did not say at the end of this episode, so I'm glad we got that in as well. There we go. Anything else Canadian you want to mention before we finally move on to the news list?
Nope. Oh, happy 50th to Audrey's Books in Edmonton, because I went to their shindig on Wednesday.
Oh, nice. Audrey's Book, an old independent bookstore in Edmonton.
Did you know anybody there?
Jasper Ave.
Just the owners. And actually, a guy I went to elementary school with, who now works there. So we ended up catching up on a bunch of stuff. Oh, and one of the authors. So there you go.
Sweet. Nice. Did you buy a book?
I did not buy a book, no.
Okay. You used to work there, though, right? You worked there back in
the 90s.
The 90s. Yep. The glorious 90s. Did you have any Target books there or New Adventures?
There were no Target books there, no.
I definitely bought the occasional Target book.
I thought you meant at this event. I thought you meant this event
back in the 90s. Back in the 90s.
Yes, absolutely, yes. In fact, we had some irritating person who kept bugging us about it, and for years I thought it might have been Chris, but it wasn't. It was a different irritating person.
You thought it was some other 6'10" guy coming in looking for Doctor Who.
No, this guy wasn't 6'10". That's what clued me into it.
Yeah, I was like, wait a second. There's a key difference with the person who came in. I was looking eye to eye with him.
Some annoying nerd had questions about Doctor Who books. I mean, that doesn't really narrow the field, including myself. So
That's true. You could have been just you in the mirror in the bathroom. Just like, wait a minute, it was me all along. I was asking myself where the novelization of the Loch Ness Monster
Kermit wearing the hood. You know where you got the evil Kermit and the good Kermit?
Yep. Yeah. Well, I'm glad you had a good time at the Audrey's 50th anniversary thing.
At the Yardbird Suite, just to make it even more Edmonton, which I'd never actually been in before.
Okay.
Yeah, just off Calgary Trail there, just south of Saskatchewan.
Tommy Banks
Drive.
Way, with a bust of Big Miller, which is kind of cool. I got to say, give Edmonton its props. Unlike Vancouver, a town full of film people, there's just a better art scene that comes together more in this town, and there always has been.
Well, because the art springs up from Edmonton and is portrayed there, whereas people go to Vancouver to make art and then leave, basically. Yep. No offense to your otherwise fine burg, but yeah.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Yeah. Well, there we go. That got unexpectedly Canadian there. I was pretty pleased by that.
Me praising Edmonton. That's even more unexpected.
I tell you, you are here for 5 days and you're a local again, Warren. That's how it works.
Yeah, it doesn't go away. They were making references in one poem to all this Edmonton stuff. I'm like, yeah, I know what that is. Oh, I don't know what that is. That must be after I left.
They closed that in 1992. What is going on?
This poem does not pander to me and me only. Damn it.
Is this the Mordecai Rickler thing? Is that what that is?
No.
From 1985? Okay, good. All right.
There's some Canadiana I didn't expect.
Yeah, no kidding.
I know. Wow, we're getting a little deeper there. Actually, you mentioned 50th anniversary, Warren, of Audrey's books. It's also the 50th anniversary of season 13 coming up in the fall, and also coming up in the fall is the Blu-ray release for season 13, aka Tom Baker season 2 here in North America whenever it comes out. we suspect it's coming out in the fall, sometime September, October-ish. I want to say, based on rumors, perhaps, and just, general when these things sort of come out. I mean, the fact that it's coming out the 50th anniversary of the season, it feels, that doesn't feel like it's a mistake. But, all the episodes are there, obviously. A big documentary with Toby Haydock and Philip Hinchcliffe called Return to 13, where Hinchcliffe and Graham Harper apparently, too, visit various locations around season 13.
And Graham Harper is the big Matthew Sweet interview on that set as well.
Yeah, I know.
What was his role at the time? Because he wasn't directing.
AFM, was he?
He was the assistant floor manager on Seeds of Doom. He was also start. Yeah.
Yeah. Then he was also a mentee of Douglas Camfield, who directed Seeds of Doom. And,
yeah. So that's where he
this
got
season's
his,
all but one bangers. So.
Yeah, Android Invasion just makes it easy. Just like, there you go. We made it easy for you. That's the worst episode. You can just say that's the worst one.
Yeah.
That's where the good VAM's going to come from, because the worst episodes make for the best VAM.
Luke Luke from Temitowup was actually worked on the original DVD documentary for that. He just happened to be in the village where they shot it when Ed Stradling was making his doc, and I think he held a boom for some of the interviews in the Fleur de Lis pub. So he likes it. That's probably his favorite bit of VAM, I reckon. Anyway, the In Conversations Graham Harper, which, I would have thought, well, the obvious was to make him in season 21, but I don't know who would be in the... Have they done a big interview with Janet Fielding yet? I can't remember if they have or not.
That's a great question. I think the answer is no.
Yeah.
Has season 21 come out yet?
No, it has not come out yet.
Well, in that case, Matthew Sweet could have interviewed him about that here as well, right?
It's just
and then that comes out with it.
I think they only do the big In Conversations on one specific disc or release, I think. So
I just think you could kind of prepare ahead of time, because Graham Harper's not getting any younger, so neither is Matthew Sweet.
But I mean, they've put this one on the season 13 one.
No,
but
I'm just saying you could do both interviews now and then keep that one in cold storage, Big Finish style, until season 21 comes out.
What I mean to say, though, Warren, is in the In Conversation pieces, you would know this if you owned all the Blu-rays.
But I don't.
But you don't. But they only have, they interview this person on this In Conversation. There's not like a Tom Baker In Conversation on multiple different box sets. There's
I see. Okay, all right. Okay, my mistake.
Yeah.
There you go. Season 21, for example. I mean, Harper, sure, for Androzani, but 21 is still predominantly a Colin Baker series, and Colin has done
Twin
it.
Twin Dilemma is the only Colin Baker story.
Oh, right, yeah, other way around. Sorry, my bad.
See, the only one person has to make mistakes now is Steven. You're due, buddy.
So I think I don't think Janet Fielding has done one. Mark Strickson obviously would be another candidate there.
Yeah.
Peter hasn't done one, has he?
Surely he's done one. I've lost track.
I can't remember.
Paul Smith needs to do an updated DVD compendium just to include the Blu-ray releases for Wonderful Books. That's there. I'm shouting that out. Do some work for free, damn it, because I love those things. Maybe you already have.
You're doing a real. I have an idea. Why don't you write it?
It's great. I know. Well, I don't have the talent. I'm an ideas person, Warren. This is what I do. All right.
Ideas person is code for I don't know what the hell I'm doing.
Yeah,
just to do a quick rundown here.
Sure.
Because I've got it in front of me. So the ones who have done it: William Russell, Maureen O'Brien, John Levine, Katie Manning, Tom Baker, Philip Hinchcliffe, Louise Jameson, Bob Baker, Peter Davison, season 19 Blu-ray.
There it is.
Janet and Sarah, season 20 Blu-ray.
Oh boy.
Colin, Nicola Bryant, Michael Grade, Bonnie Langford, Sylvester McCoy, Chris Clough, Andrew Cartmell, Sophie Aldred.
It's got to be Strickson then, right, for 21?
It would have to be because Davison and Fielding are both done.
And his epic career after Doctor Who that Mark Strickson had.
Yeah, Sophie Aldred has done it. Sophie Aldred has done it twice. She's the only one.
Is that allowed? She's allowed two of them?
Sure.
See, so Graham Harper could do another one.
It could, yeah, I know. Well, here's the sad fact as well, is that, season 13, I mean, Philip Hinchcliffe did one already probably for what, 14? I don't remember which one. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Listen, there's no one else alive from season 13. Elizabeth Sladen sadly left us. Camfield, obviously, in 1984, he died. Like Terrence Dix, Robert Holmes, of course. A lot of people aren't with us anymore from season 13. So, hey,
that's why
Graham
I advocate
Harper.
for getting it all done now.
Well, if only they would have thought that in 1983. They could have interviewed Douglas Camfield then and then. They think, like, listen, I know you're going to die very soon of your heart condition that's plagued you your entire life, but in about 40 years' time, we're going to be putting out Blu-rays of your stuff, so can we get an interview?
Excuse me, Blue
now?
what?
Yeah.
There's so obviously, Tom Baker has done the Matthew Sweet piece, but there's another Tom Baker segment on this.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Tom Baker.
Tom Talks.
Tom Talks. Mm-hmm. Tom Baker on season 13 and more. And then as well, doing some commentaries. New commentaries on episodes from Zygons, Pyramids, and Android Invasion. Oh my God. I need to listen to that Android Invasion one.
I know. Toby Haydock did those. Yes. He did a bunch of them in one fell swoop, like the various episodes of them. And in his Toby's Patreon thing, he mentioned that he sort of warmed up. Baker warmed up as the day went along, and the season 13 ones were the ones they did last, and he feels he was on top form in those. So, so listen out for those. So. There's updated effects, special effects on Terror of the Zygons. Mm-hmm. That being probably the
Warren. What was your remark Scarson. On
that one? Something along the lines of "Don't you dare touch it." My beautiful, crappy looking.
The Loch Ness Monster specifically.
That's what I mean. Yeah, don't you dare touch my beautiful, disgusting, terrible Nessie.
Don't touch the skeleton.
Exactly.
But they are.
That's not exactly what I said, but something along the lines of "How dare you?" Mm-hmm. It has to look like crap. That's the whole point.
HD omnibus versions of Pyramids of Mars and the Brain of Morbius, which interesting, and a new edit of Seeds of Doom.
Well, interesting.
Well, HD omnibus. What does that mean? Is that's not Tales from the TARDIS, is it?
No.
Well, Pyramids of Mars could be.
The Tales of the TARDIS is on there. The Pyramids, one that Benjamin Coe put together, that's being watched on an iPad within the Empire of Death, basically, of Tales of the TARDIS. Basically the repeat screenings that I think Pyramids and Brain of Morbius had, the following Christmas, I think is usually when they did them. They were like 60-minute omnibus repeats. Basically, they aren't like straight up, doze off the master tape. They've taken what edits they made for the omnibus versions and just basically remade them with the current HD scans of the episodes, basically how it goes. And I think they were going to do one for Seeds of Doom. I don't know the history of that, but there's a brand new edit of the Seeds of Doom, and I think that was intended to be an omnibus at one point, but wasn't, I want to say. And so that's going to be on here too. So, there. If you're impatient, you can also watch other versions of stuff. Like
and in the list of things, the very first thing listed is a profile of Ian Martyr, which that looks very interesting to say the least.
It really does.
That'll be tough sledding emotionally, I think.
Yeah, died sadly in '86 on his 42nd birthday or something like that.
Yeah. And I met the guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Sure did.
Yeah, so, and then we had because of the fact it always happens. There's always a BFI screening to go along with the collection releases. Mm-hmm. I was putting it out there amongst us which story we think we're going to get shown at the BFI, and Stephen, you figure Zygons because of the
updated effects,
redone effects.
Yes, maybe Zygons. Yeah,
we'll see what happens, of course, but that's a reasonable guess.
I did jump on the BFI website just to see if anything had sort of been penciled in there, but no dates, no dates announced for anything like that. So,
I'm sure it'll come soon enough.
Oh yeah, yep. And then the tickets will be gone soon enough too. So,
and then we'll maybe get a North American release date around that time when the UK one comes out.
That's true. Yeah, I don't want to wait 6 months for this, so. Be awful nice if we got it sooner than that. Given that we're completely caught up now, like we're both on even keel now when it comes to the UK and North American releases.
Yeah, despite the massive lag for season 7 over here.
Yeah. Was it that bad? It was like 3 months.
It seemed like it was a lot.
It did, but like season 20 took like 11 months. It took us forever for season 20 to get over here for some reason, which bothered me. So.
Yeah. I mean, season 20 was an odd duck anyway because they had stuff in the can for literally 4 years, whatever, before.
That's true. Well, I think they recorded some of the commentaries for Tom Baker in 2021. I think Toby Haydock said for the Tom Baker stuff on this set. So yeah, they've been future proof in the range for quite a while now. But
Well, I mean that we knew in general, but it's. it's always interesting to hear about the specifics of those.
I agree. Speaking of, I don't know if we complained about this last week or not, but we mentioned about how there's no booklets in the North American.
You probably complained.
Releases. I did. Season 12 had one, and then after that they stopped doing them, even as PDF form. Well, someone called Brandon Wood has posted all basically new creations of PDF inserts for North American releases that tell you what's on the damn discs, which is vital. So links in the show notes if you want to grab those. They're just the PDFs. Like he sort of like designed them in the style of an insert basically like that. So so it's cool. So you just look up and so disc 6, here's what's on there. Everything else like that, as opposed to throwing in a disc. Nope, not on that one. Take it out. So very handy. Thank you, Brandon. Thank you for another listener on Blue Sky, I think, who posted, who shared that with us. So now we can share it with you.
And keep in mind, there is also that, not to belittle the work that Brandon Wood has done on this, but there's also the that Doctor Who special features wiki out there, which has the same content as well as listings of what's new and what's not.
Is there a link to that? Is it just called Special Features Wiki, or what is it called?
I'll throw a link in the show notes.
Oh.
I'll just have to find it, because there's two. One is better than the other.
Play them off against each other and see.
This link is of inferior quality.
Yeah. Well, don't tell them which was better though. Let the listeners decide that though.
I'm just going to put the one that I prefer.
Oh,
then that I use.
All right, I'll
put that one in the link.
That sounds fine to me. Would you believe it that San Diego Comic-Con is coming up in a couple weeks' time?
I won't be there.
Nor will I. For the third straight year, I'll have a immediate pass sitting there unclaimed because...
you can blame the border for that this time and not lack of Doctor Who content, which is also probably a factor.
Yeah. Like 2 years ago, it was strikes that prevented everything from going there. Last year, it was money and accessibility. I don't know. It was going to cost a ton of money to get down there. And this year, there's no Doctor Who on screen, but there is... From Titan Comics, of course, is a Comic-Con, so why wouldn't Titan Comics be there? Anyway, they're unveiling a new adventures to the 15th Doctor and Belinda in Titan Comics, The Warden's Report. It's I thought I was reading the thing, but it's not. Anyway, issue 1's coming out in comic shops later this year. Probably going to be launched at Comic-Con because they have a whole host of various little goodies and pins and stuff like that that's going down there. So there you go. That is probably the only official Doctor Who content happening at San Diego Comic-Con. So I will save a great deal of money and time.
And possibly being detained by ICE.
That's true. That's very true, Warren. You never know what they'll get up to. Looking forward to the World Cup in the U.S. next year. That should be great.
Those scurrilous scamps known as ICE. Oh, what joyful chums they are.
Oh, delightful. Such brigands. Anyway, the big news, of course, is from Big Finish this past week. Vampire Weekend, not the band. The first story from Jodie Whittaker and Mandip Gill from Big Finish has been released on July 3rd. With another story to follow shortly after in September. The Return of the Doctor, it's called, which is perfect because the Doctor's actually returning. And there's a lovely, charming interview with Mandip Gill and Jodie Whittaker on the Big Finish website, where they are quite clearly the best friends
They are ride or die bros, from what I can tell.
They absolutely are. It's they are a package deal. Like if ever they do conventions, it's got to be both of them because they just adore each other so. It's kind of nice, It just feels lovely to like, oh, that's that show that we like. These two would have never met probably if it wasn't for Doctor Who, and now they're like the best friends in the universe, and it's just like it's so charming. I just like it. I like watching them together.
You've gotten to it yet, and I know you will have, but there's a 20-odd minute interview with Whittaker and Mandip Gill.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
that's exactly what we're talking about.
But the very start of it, they talk about the first day they met and stuff, and it's all cute. I won't spoil anything, but it's all cute.
It's lovely. A warning: northern accents are abound.
Very much. Their accents go into hyperdrive.
Yeah, it's like they start just talking in one voice there from somewhere in Yorkshire, and it's it's great. Subtitles are recommended.
I'm sure if they're auto-generated subtitles, they'll be infallible.
That's true.
Just to balance the field, it's like you had to throw in a Canadian accent so they can give her and they get her done.
That's true. I listen. Sometimes when you only watch Doctor Who, or like me, or you have limited exposure to various aspects of English culture, sometimes you don't really appreciate different regions and their accents as much until you see them featured on Doctor Who. And I honestly had never really been aware of the Yorkshire accent until Jodie Whittaker became the Doctor, and now I just adore the Yorkshire accent.
Despite All Creatures Great and Small, the OG?
You know what? I never, at the time, this is decades ago, I was just looking for Peter Davison, so I didn't really watch it that much. Little did I know I should have been looking for Carol Drinkwater. Am I right? But
you ain't kidding, buddy.
I was like 8. So I never really
12. So I was a little more noticing of the Carol Drinkwater factor.
Exactly. I wasn't paying attention to accents when I was 8 or 10. I just wanted to see Peter Davis because he was Doctor Who. And now, if I was to go back and watch it, goes, oh, they're from Yorkshire, or are they really? Not really, probably. But
well, they come off as toffs from London. Honestly, even at that time, I noticed that. And then all the farmers are all very, very, very probably fake Yorkshire, I would guess.
Yeah, I don't think they shot in New York. Did they shot? They probably shot in Yorkshire. I don't know. Where did they shoot? Know. All Creatures Great and Small. I don't know. Where did they shoot the current All Creatures Great and Small? I don't even know.
Also not a clue. Haven't seen one frame of that. All I've heard is good, but
I saw I've seen
probably
a
like Croatia or something.
Croatia. Well, I think they shot. Speaking of shooting things where things aren't, if that's what it is. Mark Gatiss and Matthew Sweet. Matthew Sweet co-wrote this. Bookish, that new show that's coming out in a week or so in the UK and probably on PBS like in the fall. Bookish takes place in, I saw this in Wikipedia, takes place in like 1940s England, like post-war England, where Mark Gatiss is the owner of a bookstore and he solves crimes in his spare time. And they shot it, I think, in Belgium because because Belgium looks more like 1948 London than London does apparently. Sense. So
well, that makes film sense. Let me put it that way.
Yeah, and like there's they built that sort of like faux New York backlot in Bulgaria where many
Mysterio.
Places, including Mysterio, shot there. No, did Mysterio shoot there or did Nikola Tesla and
might have been both. But I'm pretty sure it was for Mysterio to begin with.
I think you might be right, yeah.
Mysterio was that, oh, shoot. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I can't remember the darn location now. But
yeah, they basically built a backlot.
Somewhere in the old Iron Curtain area, I think.
Yeah, it's Bulgaria, yeah. And I think other places have shot there too, but including probably some Marvel stuff too, actually. But
well, like the saying goes, cows don't look like cows on film. Got to use horses.
That's true. Yeah.
By the saying, we mean The Simpsons.
Yeah. Like even in Cardiff, in Wales rather, they don't shoot period stuff in Cardiff because it's all relatively modern. But Swansea, they only got like electricity in 1979, so they have a lot.
We've entered the fiction portion of the podcast.
Well, they've got a lot of older buildings there that they just shoot.
I cracked the plastic on the Shidigawa season 1 Blu-ray set and
well done.
Started watching some of the bonus stuff on episode on disc 1.
Okay.
And there's a tour of Ruby's Flat by Millie Gibson, and even in that she mentions how like the street scenes were shot in Bristol.
Oh,
and
yeah.
So, I mean,
Bristol in England. Wow.
Yeah, across the bridge. But
true.
like it's not far from Cardiff to Bristol in the grand scheme, but just the fact that they are still shooting around. It's not everything is not solely in the Mumbles.
The Mumbles.
I still don't believe that's a real name. I know it is, but I just every time I see it on RTD's Instagram, I'm like, come on, you're putting me on here, buddy.
I know, the Mumbles. Sounds like a Michael Stipe tribute band.
It really does.
Yeah. But whatever. Anyway, Big Finish. Great to have Jodie and Mandip back together in audio form, both now with Vampire Weekend and then coming again in September and with the return of the Doctor. So
with a baddie, I'm assuming it's a baddie or a creature anyway, that I'm calling Disco Horse based on this art.
It looks like a Mirrorball horse. That's right. Yeah,
I like Disco Horse. I don't know if it's a horse or it's an anteater, but Disco Horse sounds better, so I'm going.
Yeah, I don't know. It's got like
it looks Armadillo.
Okay,
Armadillo. I think it's
Armadisco.
Like an Armadisco. Yeah,
Armadisco. There we go. Is the villain of the piece in the Return of the Doctor written by Rory Thomas House. So there we go. Okay, well we've nailed that. So It is an armadillo. It's an armadillo. Look at that. Desert-dwelling armadillo people. Mysterious whisper. A disco. There it is right there. Disco. Yeah. And so I put that bit in, but there. All right. Well, there we are. More big finish coming down the pipe and everything
Armadillos, a.k.a. massive amounts of Texas roadkill.
Oh.
They're very ended on that. I actually was in Texas at a work thing, and they did armadillo races. And you hold these things up, and you realize that most of what makes them look bulky is just this weird hanging skin, and they're actually kind of like rat underneath. And you're like, "Oh, that didn't work. What the hell's going on here?" They're friendly little dudes, but yeah, they're weirdly proportioned. Let's put it that way.
Well, I can't top that.
Nope. There's your Armadillo Minute.
Yeah, there you go. That's the end of the news segment. The commentary portion of this podcast does not contain any discussion on armadillos, or does it? I don't remember. Find out for yourself as we do our classic series commentary for the Visitation Part 3.
Are the microphones wired in?
All round the condenser, most merciful. We're looking forward to excellent duodecaphonic sound.
This is the moment when I get a real feeling of job satisfaction.
Welcome back. It's the commentary portion of this podcast. Would you believe that? The Visitation Part 3. I've had a submarine sandwich. Warren has had an apple.
Mm-hmm.
I'm currently enjoying about to enjoy a Coke Zero. Care of our host, Chris. Thank you, Chris.
Yes, thank you, Chris.
Most kind. But now we're going to watch Visitation, in which I don't think any eating happens. I think the hot pot scene happens in Part 4, so we'll get to that.
Well, they're saving it all for the next story anyway. So.
They are. Yeah, they are indeed. So, anyway, I hope you've been enjoying this, and you got your legally purchased Blu-rays for Season 19, Peter Davison Season 1, at the ready, because we're going to watch Part 3 of The Visitation in 3, 2, 1, play. Off it goes. Blu-ray player takes a couple seconds to kick in. We might not be perfectly in sync, everyone at home. Sorry about that.
We apologize.
Sorry.
Yeah, because we stay so on topic for that to matter.
Yeah, I know. Is indeed. Anyway, here's the opening title sequence. Brought to you by the late Sid Sutton. As I'm into golf commentator mode now.
You don't see the neon logo around all that much.
You need to. It's the best logo.
I wouldn't say it's the best. I still like the Tom Baker era diamond logo better.
Yeah, I
but
know.
But this one is a good one, and you don't see it in merchandise.
No.
We did for a while.
Yeah.
Many moons ago.
On Target, I was looking through a whole bunch of Target books when we interviewed Nahed Nenshi, and because I thought we might bring them up at some point. And I was just sort of like, flipping through them all as PDFs, and there's like, oh, the neon logo.
Yes, indeed.
Oh.
Yeah, and the incongruous publicity still of Peter Davison on the cover of things.
Modern Undead and Earthshock and Arc of Infinity.
Well, no, Earthshock, he's on his knees with a gun.
Yes.
That's true,
That's
but it's still
cover.
a photo, though,
Yeah,
it's just like...
But it's not like, Andrew Skilleter or Chris Achilleos or whatever type work.
Well done on pronouncing Chris Achilleos' name properly.
A
lot of people
didn't learn that until he died.
That's true. Yeah. I know. We didn't. We all said. How do we?
I always said Achilleos.
Achilleos. Yeah, it's Achilleos, though, because it's Greek.
Yep.
And to this day, I still hear his name mispronounced, like Mark Gatiss, Rachel Talele.
Peter Davidson,
Jodie Whittaker.
Christopher Ecclestone.
Nobody's ever said Whittaker.
No one's ever said Whittaker. Only I believe you. You probably read it in the book.
Yeah, Mandip Gill.
Yeah. Yep. You don't see the studio floor. You don't see any of that studio floor. It's fine. It's fine. You don't see it. You're just imagining it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now you're ruining everything.
I know. I am a little.
The haze enough. Come on.
It's a bad time for straw or leaves on studio floors.
Is that the James Thompson driver?
That was him. Yeah.
Because he also looks like Mick Fleetwood.
Except like a foot and a half taller.
Is she rearranging the bedroom without Tegan's express consent?
I know. There's a little hat there. She left her hat. I didn't notice the hat before.
Is she just going to get rid of one of the beds now? Or what's the deal?
She's done with Tegan. On to greener pastures.
Waterhouse runs weird. I'm going to say it. I don't know.
Well, so does Davison.
You know what? Davison's little hopped start that he does, I still do that to this day. I did that, in fact, on
yes, you did.
our shoot for our video way back in London in 2015.
Yeah.
And John Williams, who was there for that, says, I commend you for your Peter Davison running skills.
I love that he knew exactly what it was.
Knew exactly what it was. Could totally pick out the Davison run.
If anybody would, it'd be him or Neil.
Williams, yeah.
The primitiveness of these creatures astounds me. I'm going to use that in the, for us, upcoming inauguration.
Oh, golly. You have no idea how blissfully ignorant we are, people of the future, right
3
here.
days from now.
On January
4 days?
16th,
Something like that.
2025. As we record
Gross.
this. Blissfully ignorant.
I love that this lizard creature has human teeth. It makes him even freakier.
But he's got a lot of teeth, though. That's
Yeah.
what makes it creepy, you know?
He's kind of like Tim Shaw.
Or no, he's almost like that celestial toy maker with his like big giant row of weird teeth for some reason.
I still say, eat my salad Halloween is one of the old-timer insults.
It's a weird one.
It's great.
But sad thing is, it's like one of the few lines that people from the Chibnall era can be quoted. What's your favorite Chibnall line? Eat my salad Halloween?
Yeah, it's one of the better ones.
Oh. Put it on wheels next time there, Nissa. Come on. Little casters, little 4-pack of casters from IKEA.
Mm-hmm. The little trolley cart thing.
Look at this scene. Look at this scene.
Is that like the back of a CRT?
I think it is, actually.
That looks like a coffee maker.
2 CRTs.
I bet you that is the back of a CRT
Yeah.
with some red tape thrown in. All right, which popsicle is going to
Yeah, that was a
melt
popsicle
first?
too, yeah.
You got lime and you got cherry.
I like lime. Thank you very much.
This looks a little more untoward than it should.
It's the only time Tegan's been submissive.
Stop it.
I was getting Nosferatu vibes because I just saw it last week.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know where you're going with that, Chris, but it's probably not good. So
Yep.
just
Oh, is it ever?
no. That's why I just say stop it.
That cape or whatever, carapace or whatever it is on him,
Yeah.
that must have been a lot to make. Because you have to glue all those sort of octagonal bits onto each other.
Yeah. Is it that, or is it just a pattern or something? It's like is it 3D printed? I'm sure they had 3D printing back.
Certainly
in
is not
1981.
3D printed.
Yeah. There's that weird chair that they had in Legopolis.
Yeah, I've noticed all the times they have chairs now that during the Christmas special.
Oh, yeah.
They were also in the giggle. He says to Tennant to 14, you need a chair in here. Because I just bought all 3 of them for $7
does
on
he really?
iTunes.
Forgot
And
about
I just
that.
went to the end and just watched the last 20 minutes of the giggle for the hell of it. And,
Right.
And that is one of the lines. That's where 15 says to 14, you need a chair in here.
Huh.
So
And
there's
has
more.
it being repeated in Joy to the World.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
so I'm wondering what the chair agenda
He's
is.
going to regenerate in a chair.
We're going to generate into a chair.
Or into a chair, maybe. He's going to sit down in a chair, finally a chair, and then he'll collapse in it and regenerate. Because we haven't had a regeneration in a chair
Since the War Games.
Since the War Games.
Since the War Games
Exactly.
2.0.
Yeah. The man with the size.
Are you trying to do like the chief caretaker?
No, I'm no, Richard Byers.
Post Crichton?
No, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, not with a cold.
I was ill. Yeah, I'm more like this guy right here with the cold. Another bald-headed skull.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, barbers were not common in 1666.
Well, weren't barbers also the guys who put leeches on you and did surgeries in quotes?
I suppose so, yeah. Who cut people's hair in those days? Or did they just not bother?
He didn't bother.
No. I don't know what went on. What was the Wi-Fi signal like back in those days? I don't know. Yeah.
Will there be Wi-Fi?
Will there be Wi-Fi?
I do know when I see somebody with a good beard or a shaven face back in these days, I'm like, I don't know if I buy that. I don't know. I mean, maybe you could get a good shave from like a straight razor or something, but
well, I mean, if you're going to be strictly accurate, all these people's teeth would probably be like
absolutely,
half
yes.
gone. But like, who wants to watch that?
And they may not be wearing glasses, but they'd be mostly blind.
I thought about that recently. You know, like I had to get glasses by the time I was 7. Like blind is about like -5 basically.
Yeah.
Both
Oh, wow.
are. And like if I was in the Middle Ages, no, I'd be done. I'd be toast.
I'd be long since dead. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But science is evil and must be destroyed.
Also, I have a tendency to sass off, and that wouldn't do me any favors in the medieval times.
Well, at least you'd never see it coming.
That's true.
Who's this guy? What's his character name? He doesn't have a character name. What's his job title?
Beardy
Old
Baldy.
Shakespeare.
Yeah.
Beardy Baldy.
It's kind of look like Shakespeare, doesn't he? Looks like William Hartnell. Maybe
There's
you should have
young
cast him.
Shakespeare.
Maybe you should have cast him instead of Richard Herndl. What do you think?
Hey, he does a little bit, actually.
Yeah. Where's this guy? Looks, he reminds me of someone. I can't think of who.
Six-figured man from...
That could be it.
The plague carriers are warlocks as well. I'm amazed no anti-COVID Doctor Who fans seized upon that one.
Right.
I don't know if there were any anti-COVID Doctor Who
No,
fans.
mostly they were pretty
It's a
sensible.
Venn diagram that I wasn't expecting.
No,
yeah.
I don't think it's not a very big Venn diagram that I can think of.
And this is picked up on the light reflection again.
Yeah, the cat chronicles continue. Nissa has found a reflection of Warren's headphones again, and so any thumping and running around in the background is that. Just so you know.
Mm-hmm. It's not the cheerleaders we paid to be here.
No. Well, they're not arriving till 3, I think, but
And then promptly leaving when they look at the three of us.
yeah. Nissa's hair is very 1981 hair.
That is. Although it's much like, I can't remember the character's name, the one woman in Blake 7 says similar but more sort of...
Callie's
Yes,
hair,
that's
someone
the
like
hair,
that,
yes,
yeah.
And that's, well, I guess that might be 1981 hair. 79 hair?
Well, Callie was, spoilers, Callie's not in season 4 in 1981.
Okay, well,
so-
don't spoil anything.
She only does the 2.
Yeah. No, it's just 3.
Is it 3?
Yeah, 3, yep. She does 3 seasons of Blake 7.
For a second, I thought that was Tom Baker.
It kind of has the right coloration for things.
Tom Baker has a very specific walk. I know because I said earlier about how I run like Peter Davison. He's got this little way that he sort of puts his hand out when he's sort of skulking around. And when I do that, I go around corners and I put my hand out, just like Tom Baker does. Because, you know, I learned how to walk by watching Tom Baker is what I mean to say.
You did nothing of the sort.
Yeah.
You have a very patient spouse, Stephen.
I do. Well, she always wondered why when I go up to elevators, I sort of walk up to it with my arm fully extended and then press the button. And then I think we were watching, I don't know, Stones of Blood for some reason. I says, wait a minute, that's why you do it, because the doctor did it in Stones of Blood. Yeah, that's it. You rumbled me.
My favorite version of that is still that Ewan McGregor will go to the grocery store and use 2 fingers.
Does he really?
He will totally do that.
For the automatic doors.
For the automatic doors.
Yeah.
Love that,
I mean,
man.
if anybody is entitled to do it, I would say it's probably Ewan McGregor.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
He's allowed to. What's going on in the story right now? They're building walls, trying to get out.
Not a clue.
Burning
I'm trying to get
things.
out. The villagers they saw the TARDIS, and Adric didn't see them because he had his back turned and he was down.
Right.
Even though
Adric
the
is
scanner was on
useless?
showing them.
I know.
You don't say.
Yeah, shocking.
Oh, my God. Build high for happiness. Villagers.
I don't see a 16th century structure being all that tough for a robot to smash into.
No.
Mm-mm.
He's dressed up now, you see.
Well, wooden ones anyway. Surely all the reinforced
fair.
steel ones
Yes.
are
Yeah.
safe.
Well, the ones that are made of brickwork.
The heck is in his hand? A hose of some sort. Okay.
It's a big giant hose.
I do love it when they have to take some device from outside the TARDIS and put it inside the
I
TARDIS.
know.
Waterhouse, I don't know, maybe I missaw, but it looked like just their Matthew Waterhouse was walking like a chicken. Just like very jerkily forward.
Yeah, no, that's how he walks. I don't know if you noticed.
That's the
this.
shame. The shame makes him walk like that.
Yeah. Shame of being Adric. You know, he just sort of encapsulates the character. Adric could be ashamed to walk anywhere.
So, Janet, for this scene, and indeed most of this episode, you're going to do scut work.
Yeah. Actually, you know what? Your cat, Tegan, is very much in line with what Tegan is here in episode 3. Just sort of very calm, sedate. Nissa's the one running around trying to figure out how to blow up a robot.
When we first put in our application to get the cats, they thought that one was male, one was female. They're both female.
Ah.
But they were originally going to be Adric and Nissa.
Oh, nuts.
But then they discovered that they were both females, so they became Nissa and Tegan.
Seems reasonable.
Harry and Sarah were not an option at the time, or?
No, never even a consideration.
No, I was curious. You're more of a Peter Davison household than a season 12 Tom Baker episode.
Yeah, the
household
better half.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
I'm not sure if you're pet shaming or season 12 shaming. There's some sort of shaming going on here, but I'm not sure what it is.
No. They just seem, cats being named after Tegan and Nissa do seem to be more appropriate, I think. That's what I mean to say. Jamie and Zoe, maybe, or something like that,
How many times have I said this is not natural to my physiognomy?
There have been many.
Every time you put your glasses on.
Exactly.
In the morning.
That's true. That's accurate. They are not natural to my physiognomy.
Raga comes back in The Awakening. Gets mentioned in Clavic Minds of Raga. Part of the Terraliptal cinematic universe.
I would pay good money to see the TCU.
Which extends to this episode and one mentioned in The Awakening, and that's it.
No, they're in the new. They're mentioned in the new series, Time of the Doctor.
They are.
And the best part is you got that divide in society between the ones who say it stands for Texas Christian University,
right,
versus the Terraliptal cinematic universe.
I know which side I'm on. But wait, it's either Time of the Doctor or Pandorica Opens. They're all up there, blah, 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 blah. And I think it's Pandorica Opens.
It might be Pandorica, yeah. When he's talking to everyone with his little microphone.
And he's listing off and just throwing out names to pander to us, which you hate in MCU, Star Wars, Star Trek, anything else. But in this.
6 months from now, Steven's going to be singing all the songs from Strange New Worlds musical.
Absolutely not.
As he watches Ahsoka for the 18th time.
Oh, yeah.
I've had people try to convince me to watch Wicked, and I'm like, I would rather do great harm to myself.
Yeah, why would you do that? Know your audience there, people. We're not going to do it.
No,
what about the sing-along? I would do great harm to others if I saw that.
Yeah. Let's just hope a Doctor Who musical is in our future. Once again, we're just saying we're recording this in January. We're blissfully ignorant of what's to come. There might be a Doctor Who musical episode coming in season 2. We don't know.
I wouldn't normally expect.
Quote Darth Vader. Oh God.
I wouldn't normally expect so, but there is always a twist at the end. So.
This thing is talking of mass murder. Kind of like a fish.
I mean, he's not wrong. This thing is talking of mass murder.
Yeah.
Is he a primitive? There's a very awkward social situation.
Well,
this Terraliptal knows how to rip him off.
He really does know what's going on.
He does throw a bone mow at a guy.
Yeah, he has got this country, this planet down.
And apparently it's very strong because that amount of force would not propel him that far back.
Why isn't that guy's chest caved in, though?
No, I know. Well, it was only a warning blow. Drop the sonic device.
Forgotten about that.
That's what he does. Another scene from Brian Purr where he goes, "Hi-ya!" He does that. Life of Rocket Brian Purr. Which season is that from? I don't even remember.
I think it's the first one.
I know it's not because it's not on the Blu-ray because I bought the Blu-ray and it wasn't on there. And
because the first season is more of a biography of him.
Yeah.
Or is the second season a biography?
No, it's the first season's in that. And
the first season is also a deliberate takeoff on Bob Geldof's Here's How Music Began kind of.
No, it's kind of like
I know he's based on Peter Gabriel, but but I've seen Bob Geldof BBC music documentaries, and they're basically aping that too.
I invented world music and all that stuff. Yeah.
The third one. The third one might be my favorite.
I thought that was Peter Gabriel.
What?
That invented world music.
No. This is the intro for because it's lampooning.
Yeah, and Peter Gabriel shows up in one of them, like at the end,
at the very end,
because he's very much into the joke. He's like, "This is hilarious. Keep making fun of me," which I think is pretty cool.
It is pretty cool. Obviously, I mean, there are many Doctor Who clips in Life of Rock with Brian Purn,
and audio cues too.
Audio cues.
I was catching them all. I'm not proud of this, but I was. Look at that lush, verdant green.
Right. It's nice.
Heathrow's looking pretty good.
I think she looked directly in the camera.
She certainly did look directly in the camera.
Oh, nuts. I didn't want to
just
say that anyway.
Adric is a lost cause. Just
Yeah.
leave the door shut.
Yep.
Forget about him. He's dead in 2 stories. You don't know this yet.
Exactly.
But
You know,
She's in the same way we are fearing the inauguration in several days hence. She is feeling the same about Adric's impending demise.
Yeah.
Without knowing why.
yeah, just close the door again.
she tried to keep him away from keyboards, but it didn't help.
Speaking of which, that robot does look like Mike Pence.
If he only had the courage. If he only had the courage to do what needs done here.
I don't think I've ever seen Mike Pence
We'd be out of
so
this.
bedazzled and
I
bejeweled.
know. Look at that.
This is his true form.
Oh, yeah.
Surely someone
his final form.
Yes.
He kind of looks actually the shape of his head is like Crichton.
A little bit, yeah.
Ish, yeah.
Peter Ragg designed
Very
the.
angular.
Peter Ragg was visual effects designer on this. Also went on to do
Red Dwarf.
You are correct, yes.
I wonder if there's.
Now, whether he was the one doing the head makeup.
Yeah, I don't know, but it's too much of a coincidence to.
I love that Walmart
Ignored.
$10 bin they've got there.
Yeah, I noticed that. Got to put something in that room.
Canadian Tire Special.
Why does this thing cosplaying as a chef?
I don't know what kind of control they have. Like they do the grrr, and then he just stops, and they have some sort of control over him.
Is he autonomous? What is he?
I don't know. Poor old Andric.
Mm.
You're going to a better place, son. Uh-oh.
Oh, I forgot. This is the
This is it?
this is the tragic end for now.
Coming up.
He is a fish. I never really realized how much
Wait,
of a
I have to
fish.
wear this cloak to disguise
Yeah,
myself.
exactly. Like I'm Superman, but I got to put on these glasses so nobody recognizes me.
Why has anybody retconned the Gelth or Geth or what the hell they're called into the TCU?
The from what? Unquiet Dead?
No, from the
The
doctor's daughter.
The
Yeah,
Geth. Yeah.
and inexplicably the opening 11th hour.
The and the vampires of Venice too. You know, the fish people from Croatia. Yeah.
Fish people from Croatia.
Yeah, I think that's what Neil Perriman called them at the time. Yeah, he really should. Uh-oh. Gonna say it's rare that the Fifth Doctor actually uses, but actually, Sonic plays a heavy part in Fort of Doomsday.
That's true.
Recorded one story before this.
Also, there's very little you can do with this Sonic.
Mm-hmm.
Although right now he's getting a code, which I guess had to be. Wait
That's
a minute.
true.
Hold on. How
Yeah.
does that work then?
Is he getting a 2-factor code?
He's getting the
He's trying to
code
log
because
into
they have
his
to.
Gmail?
Cloud
Yes.
storage.
Cloud storage.
Cloud storage. Yeah.
But the War Doctor
Drop
and
the
so
Sonic
forth is
device.
sent it all. But
Drop
but
it.
If the 5th, 6th,
Drop the Sonic
and
device.
7th, and
Drop
the
it.
8th Doctor did have a sonic screwdriver. So you've got a gap of 3 Doctors who
You do.
They maybe built sonic screwdrivers.
It's all in the cloud.
Yeah.
It's all in the cloud. Just like sometimes, I've got multiple Xboxes. Sometimes I'll fire up GTA or something on one Xbox that I haven't done in quite a while. And says, there's some updates.
Yes. Okay.
There you go.
So yeah, it's once he built. So once the 8th Doctor built his sonic screwdriver,
Yeah.
he basically had to sit there for
so many
hours
updates.
and hours
So
and hours.
many updates. You plug it in and says, we're going to try to update this tomorrow night. Okay, that's fine. And then he wakes up the next morning. Yeah, we're going to try to update. No, you're supposed to do this last night. Why didn't you do it?
And it would do it the Apple way. It would do 2 ways. The Apple way, where it goes, it's all updated, then it goes back and reboots again and starts doing more. Or it would do it the Windows way, where it just reboots whenever the hell it damn well
whatever
feels
does.
like it.
Like, oh, wow, halfway through typing an email, off it goes.
Or if it's Linux, a bearded man would pop in the TARDIS and berate
God.
him for not doing it right.
I think
Possibly Chris.
I think Eccleston's TARDIS was basically Linux.
Yeah.
But
But Eccleston would have
DIY.
beat the hell out of a Linux guy coming in and
That's true.
giving me a hard time.
Yeah. It was very homemade, actually. And nearby, so what city could that be? Which is the only city to ever appear in Doctor Who at this point?
Brighton?
Brighton. That's the one. Nailed it.
Our rats will ensure there are no survivors. Alberta, spared once again.
There it is. Visitation. There it is. Title.
Drink.
Yes, the well-known Visitation drinking game.
Yeah, although it's not the Visitation, to be strictly accurate. But what's the last commentary we did in person? Was it? It wasn't Silver Nemesis, was it? Back at WesterCon and
That far back? Wow.
I don't think so. We had to have surely done more of these.
Not a galley.
We've always
been too busy.
we've always threatened to do these, and then for like 3 years in a row, COVID and
yes, that's true.
snowstorms would
Scuttled the whole enterprise.
Can't believe we're finally doing this. That's what I mean to say.
Here comes the death of our friend. Or did I just miss it?
Oh, you missed it.
You missed it.
I talked over
Sonic Screwdriver.
Drop the sonic device.
Drop
right,
it
yes.
3 minutes ago.
Drop it. Drop the sonic device.
Well, to me, the sonic screwdriver will never be dead.
Tegan, I know you never listen to a word I say. That's how you should start every conversation with her.
Not him, though. Oh my God. I sense we're getting to one here.
Oh, no.
Or at least the end of this episode. Rats. There it is. Is that the only... No, wait. Is there a giant rat cliffhanger in Talons of Ling Chiang?
Yeah, when the rat's coming towards it, that's definitely... I think that's
that is a
definitely
cliffhanger,
the
isn't it? Yeah, okay. Only the second known rat-themed cliffhanger in Doctor Who history, then. In case you're keeping track at home. Deadly rats. Same people who worked on the previous 2 episodes are now being shown in the credits for episode 3. In case you're following along at home, there's Ken Bilton.
Good old Bilton.
Go Bilton. Vision
Of
Mixer.
our favorite lawyer and firm.
Why were they called Vision Mixers when we all know they were switchers? We just call them switchers, right?
It might just be the brand name. It's just like I remember saying Chiron with one of my friends who worked in British TV.
Right.
They had no idea what I was talking about, but they have a completely different name that I had no idea what I was talking about.
Yeah,
Same basic thing, right? So I bet
just like bug versus dog.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like Vision Mixer just sounds more creative.
It sounds more
you
British and aloof.
That too. Yeah,
but I bet you it's a brand name.
I don't know if it's no. I think it's Vision. I think they're just mixing the visions. I guess I don't know.
Yeah, or it's like meet out sound, which comes from the German early days of silent cinema. But people still use MOS, even though it's 2024. It's literally 100 years later, or even earlier than that.
Ridiculous. TV. What are you doing? Dumb TV. Banish the industry. Except until next week when we talk about part 4 of the Visitation for our classic series commentary. Do join us for that, won't you? Until next time, I am Stephen in Edmonton.
Warren in Edmonton.
And Chris in Edmonton.
So long for now.